If the biggest guy on the track also clocked in the fastest time of the year, does this mean having more muscles makes you faster? Or does ending up with a silver medal tell us everything we need to know? In this video, we will look at 4 reasons why more muscles can be more problems or less problems as we get to the bottom of this age-old debate. The first reason why more muscles can have positive and negative effects has to do with force production. Although carrying less muscle means carrying less weight, it can also affect how much force you can put into the ground. Now, first, let's make one thing clear. More muscle does not equal more strength. If that was the case, every bodybuilder would also be the world's fastest man. However, if you train with heavy weights to improve strength and not just to look good, more of the muscle fibers will be active when sprinting, allowing you to access more of what is there.
Different people have differing levels of muscle fiber recruitment, and it tends to be anywhere between 30 and 50%, 50% being a highly trained athlete. So even a highly trained athlete can't call upon all of their muscle fibers at once, because if they did, they could cause injury to their tendons and ligaments, and they could likewise completely fatigue themselves.
This is unfortunately something Thompson knows too well, as he has been out injured for most of the year. Force production is important, but if you don't have the elasticity in the tendons to be able to recoil the force you put down into the track back up again, it would be like trying to bounce a flat ball as hard as you can. This tells me that Thompson is super elastic, and all the force he can generate is not being wasted, but being used to propel him down the track. By training your feet and your plantar flexion, you're building a structure that can recoil the large forces that you produce.
Watch Usain Bolt here, who's going to come bouncing by here. That's where his power is coming from. That's his spring. There it is in slow motion, up close. That's running plantar flexion.
This next reason why more muscles can be less problems is something not too many people know. As we dive into the brain-body connection, that is the nervous system. The number one priority for your brain is not peak performance, it's to keep you safe. A main highway for your nervous system is in the spine that connects the brain to your lower body. Most of the information that runs from your mind to the rest of the body runs through the spine. It's like the main highway running through a city. As we now know, the brain is always trying to protect you. It does this by not allowing you to access all of your muscle fibers, as we just saw. Also by not allowing us to produce too much force, to reduce the risk of injury. The mind is so clever at self-preservation that it would send pain signals in an area of the body, even if there is no internal damage, just to get you to stop. Safety first, then performance. So, your brain will only give power to your lower body if it feels the spine is not going to get hurt. By packing muscle around the spine, especially the upper back, you are telling the brain that it can produce more power without causing risk of injury to the body. Making this area feel protected by strengthening it will tell your brain it's okay to train even harder without causing risk to the body. There are many reasons why having more muscles can help you win a race, but there is one part of the race that having bigger muscles is most associated with improved performances. As we now look at reason number 3. Acceleration. Heading into this year's Olympics, Thompson was able to access a level of aggression that allowed him to accelerate faster than his competitors. What was also clear was that this was controlled aggression. His intention was aggressive, making sure he was applying force into the ground, but his movements were relaxed, nothing was tense, and yet there was a ferocity within his sprinting. When it comes to aggressive and explosive movements, having more muscle is usually very beneficial. More muscle fibers are available for you to access, enabling you to channel more of that aggressive energy. A lightweight sprinter can be just as aggressive as a heavyweight, and access just as much of their muscle fibers as the heavyweight. Let me take you back to Tokyo in the Olympic 100-meter quarterfinal. Su Bingtain exploded out the blocks, recording the fastest ever 60-meter split. The key to his speed was not complete relaxation, but extreme controlled aggression. He was able to develop this aggression through his training, where he would do exercises that require aggressive movement. Pair this with Carl Lewis, who has stated that throughout his career, he never once went to the gym. Only at the back end of his career as he got older. Carl Lewis was a famously bad starter, however, he was an incredible finisher.
But he's not speeding up. No one is. Everyone's decelerating at the end of the race. He was just so much more efficient in terms of his technique. He's a very clean runner.
If an athlete's aggression was on a spectrum, Carl Lewis would be at one end with Su Bingtane at the other. Is Su Bingtane the most muscular sprinter you have ever seen? Maybe not, but there is no doubt the guy has muscle. Let's look at another elite accelerator, Christian Coleman. Not a mountain of a man, but, again, a decent amount of muscle. To conclude, does having more muscle increase your acceleration? There does seem to be a certain level of muscle required, but you don't have to look like the Hulk, especially when you learn the muscular system is even less involved in acceleration than we may have thought. Top-end speed. Typically, as Thompson entered the last 30 meters, he would take the brakes of the acceleration cruising across the line. His incredibly muscular body, paired with his very aggressive intention, was enough horsepower to carry him for the rest of the way. So, everyone assumed that once he decided to keep his foot on the accelerator and continue his speed throughout the last third of the race, the medal was surely his. Well, almost everyone.
Because he hasn't been in a stadium full of 100,000 people yet to try to close the deal. And that's the mental part. That's the only thing Noah has over him. Noah's done that time and time again. So mentally, he's a little bit more advanced than Keishane. That's the only up I give Noah and Keishane right.
As much as having muscle can be your best friend when it comes to controlled aggression within acceleration, wild aggression whilst at top-end speed is your worst nightmare. It would be like trying to frantically pedal a bike as fast as you can whilst riding it vertically downhill. You're only getting in the way of the speed that you have already generated. This wild aggression calls upon your muscles to try and maintain your top-end speed, a job your muscles should never be asked to do. It's the job of the tendons and fascia. Maintaining someone sprinting at 27 miles per hour requires the body to be bouncing down the track, conserving energy and maintaining the speed already built up. The tendons are made from an elastic-like substance that can react to the force your muscles apply to the ground, allowing you to store and recoil every stride like a skipping stone, bouncing you to glory. Relaxing enables this instinctive subconscious system that's built for speed to simply do its job. The muscle is simply an employee of this speed system, and the boss is your fascia system. Thompson fell for this same mistake, feeling the pressure and feeling the heat, a heat that Noah Lyles only ramped up with his theatrics before the race. He panicked and began to rely on the very thing that gave him the edge at the start of the race. Either consciously or subconsciously, it was Thompson's inexperience that lost him this race, not his muscles. Put simply, if Thompson simply ran his personal best and didn't try to do anything too special, he would have won. So, more muscle, more problems? Like anything, there are positives and negatives. Building muscle in the gym is one of the highest risks of injury for a sprinter, as there is always a risk of injury lifting or moving heavy things, especially at a fast pace. It can also be a problem if you are not developing your elasticity alongside your strength, as all that strength will not be able to be transferred when you're sprinting. However, if you get the balance right between aggression and relaxation, muscles and tendons, gym and track, you may just be standing on a podium one day with an Olympic gold around your neck.